Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and I have a box opening. Today is August the 14th, Friday. I was looking forward to going flying at the weekend, but I was still in the middle of a storm. And what have I got? Well, I've got a Bush Mule by Avios. I have to confess the artwork doesn't impress me that much. It looks really quickly drawn on. On the other hand, it's got a certain appeal to it. So this is a twin. Let's see what's in this box, shall we? Well, the first thing is I cannot tip this box up without everything falling out. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Hope you're all safe and well. Well, that was a few years ago, and I finally got round to digging the box out of the garage and assembling the Bush Mule. This is a version 1. Did the unboxing, as you've just seen, and put it away. Well, I felt I want to move over to some twins now. Here it is, laid out in our dining room. I'm home alone at the moment. I've got the house to myself for a good 10 days, so I thought I might as well take advantage of the space. So here we are in our dining room. Basically examined all the parts. Most of them are laid out before you. A couple of pointers. These wheels, let me get them for you. These are some of the most awful things I've ever seen. They're actually foam wheels. Now I can understand you want something light, but they're rock hard. So they're the main wheels. And you've also got a nose wheel. Exactly the same. They're just made out of foam and they're rock hard. Obviously light, but I decided to replace them. And the first thing I did on the nose wheel, it is obviously heavier, but I've got this Mustang wheel. I think it's a Dubro one, and I've modified it so I can install it as a nose wheel. And it's almost, apart from the bulk here, which gives it a little bit more clearance, it's about the same. And as for the main gear, well, I've used these, I call them balloon wheels, but they're not, they're soft foam, so they've got a bit of give in them, and they are a bit heavier, but again I think they'll be better. Size wise, if anything, they're a little bit bigger. Well, I think I'll get away with it. So I had to modify these to make them fit. The axles, or the holes for the axles, I just basically got a drill and drilled them out. So they're not very circular. They sort of tend to wobble a bit, but it won't be on the ground for that long. Really, the only change I've done so far, I've checked all the parts over, I've wiggled the hinges, because a lot of this is just pressed hinges. So you must remember to do the old 100 wiggles just to loosen them up. So that's all been done. The flaps are genuine hinged, which is very nice. So they're here, and they come down like air brakes basically, and they've got nice real plastic hinges. So that's quite nice. The skis are there, but obviously I won't be using them. I think that's about it. So without rabbiting on too much, I think we're going to get the tail gear on. So we'll get the rudder, fin, tailplane, which comes with the elevators of course, installed. Let's get on and do it. They recommend you don't rely on the screws to hold this together. So basically, the instructions first of all say, you push that in there. I don't know how it exactly goes like that. It doesn't look right, but somehow, oh yeah, I see. So it goes in there, it pushes down into there like that, and then this comes in on top. And then it says just to screw two self-tappers through there and there. Now, then it says that the Avios team recommend you use foam adhesive or an epoxy to secure these in place. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in that. We can do that. We've got foam tack. Yeah, I might have to scrape away some of this stuff. We'll just bind it on actually, it looks pretty good. I flexed these hinges because they are compressed foam hinges, so they're quite nice and wobbly. Not too stiff at all.
11 minutes later.
That's well and truly glued in there, that's not coming out. I wouldn't even need the screws, but I'm going to put them in anyway. To give them credit, it does say to glue it if you have no intention of taking the tailplane apart at any time. Also, if you're going to push the Bush Mule to its limits. I don't think I ever do that, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Anyway, that's in there. I've now got to do basically exactly the same thing, but with the fin and rudder. Yeah, and the way I'm going to do that is, let's just do it. Okay, so we've got the same thing here. I'm not too worried about the glue on the paint. And what I've got to be careful about is how much you actually need to. Okay, it looks as though it's up to that blue line. Yeah. Okay. This runs on a 4S, so anything like a 25, 26 should do. They say a 22. We'll see what we can get in it. So now I'm just carefully, because it's just up to the blue mark, exposing a bit of the... That's just a horrible piece there, look at that. I'm going to put some glue in there on that. Make sure it's well covered. No glue's needed down there. I'm going to try and do it here. Careful not to go too far. I think this goes almost up to there. And then it starts to expose itself a little bit. Ooh, I see. It's probably not doing anything, but it's something I've grown up doing as I was modelling, gluing anything together. Even if it was balsa wood, I'd just score it a little bit. Tell you what, I'm not going to glue that on right now. So it's prepared, but I'm not gluing it. And the reason I'm not gluing it is I can easily turn that over to attach the push rod to the elevator. That's what I'm going to do now, but before we do that, we want to make sure this servo is centered. And the way we do that is find the appropriate cable that says elevator, and I don't have one. It's got to be one of these. Well, that doesn't say anything, that says cabin. Now the cabin is this ramp door, and then the other one is linked to a Y lead, which is rudder. So by the process of elimination, this must be the elevator. And we'll be using this toolkit multi-servo tester. It's called an ST8, Servo Tester 8. And it is way over complex for what I need. But it was a good price. So I got one. And it works a treat. Bit bulky for the field, but good when you're doing assembly right on the workbench. Let's get a battery for that. Okay, so I've got a battery. Let's flip this over. Let's room here, shall we? So, let me. Right. Signal to the bottom. Channel 1. Okay, so that's one direction, that's the other direction. That's full one way, that's full the other. And then I can centre it there. Yeah, that's centred. Tell you something else. Oops. Those are the cheapest bit of I've ever seen. They are terrible, but unfortunately I don't have any replacements, and the model shop is closed at weekends these days. Used to be open Saturdays for half a day, but they're closed now, and I'm going to have to use them, but I do not like these things. Also, we're going to have to cut some fuel tubing, which I wasn't prepared for. Let me go and sort that out.
5 minutes later.
Cut a bit of tubing, just put it over the end. It's going to be a heck of a problem getting it over this part of the clevis, and that's why I don't like these. It's got one hole in it here, big enough for that. Let's put it in, turn it round. Let's see where that brings it. That's going to bring it quite nice level. Quite like that. Let's give that a go. Oops, let's get that right in there. Right, that's in there. Let's just put that in there like that. That's up elevator. So I need to bring it this way more, which is actually good because it means I've got to screw this in. And I can't do it in there.
5 minutes later.
I've done that one full twist around. Let's try it again. And just pop it in. This is centred. This has been screwed, so this is level. I'm now going to, he says, I've just got to pop that together. They really are atrocious clevises. I hate them. Right, that's done. This shoulder on these clevises is a nightmare to get fuel tubing over. But I managed to get a piece. It sits nicely there, keeping it tight. The hole on the right hand side I had to make a bit larger, just so it would go over the little ball on the plastic, otherwise it had bent it and snapped it off. But with the fuel tubing there, that's nicely held in place. Let's give it a test. So we've got that way, full travels. That's good. Down there, and if we centre it. While we're here, let's see if this works. There you go. Right, now I can put the fin and rudder on this. Oh, let's get the glue in. Let's get doing the glue in. I have to put it on the servo as well, the glue. Get down there, on the sides. Just going to put a little bit on this one. I'm just putting the glue over this bit. Trouble is I can see what I'm doing, but you can't. Right. Don't want to put that down anywhere. Just spreading. Trying to keep it out of there. You don't want that gluing. Right, there we go. So if we've done this well. Oh God, maybe I've done it too bloody well. Come on, man, I should have left that in there. Making work for myself, making hard work for myself. Oh, that's a good fit, my God. I'm not sure that's good, there's a little slot here. Yeah, it needs to come forward more, but there's no way on this planet that's moving now. So I'll muck that up a little bit actually. I'm pretty sure it won't matter. It's been a complete bull. It's not quite in line. It's a couple of mil out, but it doesn't look good. I couldn't get it down there. Let's try that once more. This is where it's stuck. That's it. Right, and down, 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 and down. That's better. Whew, that's quick acting stuff, this phone tack. But I tell you what, it's definitely quicker on this type of phone, or there's something about this phone. Normally when I use foam tack on a foam aircraft, I can take it off and put it back on 2 or 3 times. This, put it on once and bam, that's it. I'm not complaining, I mean it's pretty good, but you have to remember that or you'll make the mistakes I've just made. I'm going to hold this in place like this, apply pressure down on it so I won't keep the video going. We're going to put these self-tapping screws, they're horribly thin things, but we're going to put those down the hole. Oh, he says, yeah, down the hole. That's one done. Here's our second one. Just got to get it pushed down. And then we're going to see if we can screw it in. Doing the last few turns. Okay, that's done. So we've got this here. So again, what we've got to do, oh, it's way short, way short. Right, well, I've unscrewed this somewhat. It's still got a good bit of thread in there, so I'm happy about that. I've centered the servo. I've just got to put a bit of fuel tubing on it now and just see, I might be able to pull it in a little bit, just a fraction. The reason it looked too short was because this was actually screwed right the way back down here. Right, let's just pop that on. From the top. I think that might be too much. Let's just try it. What's that look like? No, that was pretty good. Well, I'm quite happy with that. So I'm just going to clip these together now and then put the fuel tubing over this piece, which is a real pain because it's quite a big shoulder, but I'll get on and do it.
5 minutes later.
Right, that's on. So I've had to make the holes bigger on this horn. I didn't have to do it for the elevator, but on the rudder I had to make the hole bigger so the clevis rod, you know, the bar that joins up would go through, but I've done that. It clicks together okay, and the fuel tubing will hold it nicely clamped together, and it's got full movement, left, right, left, so that's okay. I always critique my models when I make them, and I'll be honest with you, this type of setup with a servo on the outside with a great big long push rod going to a rudder or an elevator, it reminds me of the multiplex kits you used to get back in the 1990s. When I was building those, I have a cargo. So I'm making progress on the multiplex cargo B17, and here you can see I've replaced this push rod. It was very thin before. This is probably overkill, but what was happening last time is, as it was pushing the rudder, the one that was in here, the push rod that was in here, was bending. It's okay pulling the rudder, but as it was pushing the rudder it would bend. So this one does not bend. It's a 4-engine multiplex, supposed to be a transporter plane. I converted mine into a lookalike B17, and it had the same issues. It had servos on the outside and they're great big long push rods. The thing that they've done here though is they've given you a substantial push rod. It's quite thick, so it's not bowing as you turn it. The ones on the multiplex, they would be thin and they would bend. So that's quite good, but it's pretty old school having a great big long push rod on the back there. On both sides actually, it looks a bit dated, but never mind. Okay, that's it. That's that part of the assembly done. And in doing what we've done, we've also tested all the servos. So we know the elevator works, we know the rudder works, and we know the bottom hatch works. The next job is to put the undercarriage on.